Hello everyone and welcome back to our sewing retreat. It is now our 4th day here, the 3rd full day that we've had, and we've got another full day tomorrow, and then we leave early evening on Sunday, but obviously we've got to check out before that. So the last couple of days we've got into a really nice rhythm of going out in the mornings, exploring the really nice villages that are around in the Cotswolds, and then just coming back to the cottage around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then spending the rest of the afternoon and early evenings doing some sewing and quilting. So it's been really fun. And then generally speaking, we've been cooking our evening meals in the cottage, so that's absolutely fine. As you saw, there's a nice big kitchen, but of course we've been having some nice treats while we've been out in the morning in the little villages. So today, in terms of our sewing plans, I am almost finished on the double gauze quilt. I've pretty much done all of the hand quilting now, but I have a few construction issues that I need to make little workarounds to. So I'll show you those as they come up. And my sister, she has finished like a main panel of her quilt that she wants to do, and she's just going to start expanding upon it. She wanted to do the main panel first. You probably will have seen this if you've watched the first episode, but she had a main panel first that she was happy with the size of, but she didn't know how much fabric she would have left, and she wanted to use the ones that was bought from my dad from India, so she wanted to focus on using those first. So she's just going to spend some time extending it and then probably basting up the quilt. I'm not sure if we'll find any craft shops in the little village that we visit today, but the last 2 days we've been really lucky and there's been a craft shop in each village. Maybe we should plan what village we go to based on the craft shops. To be fair, we only knew that the first one would be in the first village. The second one was a total surprise. So I'm ready to get downstairs and let's get started with the day. So let me show you where I've gotten to. So I have joined lots of houses together. I've been joining them in blocks of 20. I had 3 blocks of the 20. So I've joined all of those together and I've made another 3 blocks. But let me show you the back. Oh, I took out some of the papers of the ones that I'd already made, but yeah. I need to sit down and just take all the papers out, but I started doing it this morning, but I'll save it till I'm at home, I think. And then last night I finished the quilting on the double gauze quilt, so I think I just had these 2 repeats left to do. So I've done that, and I also removed all of the pen marks last night. So let me see if I can include some footage of the whole thing. So today I'm going to add the binding on. I need to trim that top maybe just a touch. I might not even bother, it's not that much, is it? But there is an issue on the bottom. Now, this is the bottom, and I obviously started quilting pretty much at the bottom. However, the back piece is not straight, nor is it level with the front piece. I think I started on the wrong side. I should have started on this side, but I did that as the back. So that ends there, which you can't really see, which is a good inch from where I've got fabric on the back. So I think I'll put the binding up a little bit higher, and that might, if I really secure the stitches with some small stitches on the machine, I might be able to cut it without the hand quilting coming undone. I really hope I can. If not, or if I don't have the courage to do that, to cut the hand quilting, I think I'll just make the binding thicker so it's nice and thick on the back. Just to cover that. But then I also just need to spend some time going round the quilt just to like pull it out, because some of the edges are like a bit bunched up just because of the nature of the quilt. So I'm going to do a stitch all the way around the edge just so I can make sure both sides are as even as possible, but it is just that bottom that I've got the issue with. I think you can see there, I've tried to hold it up to the light so you can see that the one side is slightly bigger than the other. And this is how far my sister's got with her quilt. So she wants it to fit on her Super King bed at home, and this is a king size, so there's a bit of overlap. But she's also going to put a border on here and some cornerstones, so we'll be sure to show you that. So I am now at the stage with the double gauze quilt of doing the binding. So I decided, because I said on the last episode that I had an issue with the back being shorter than the front, and I wasn't sure if I was going to cut it, but all I did was I did a stitch all the way around the edge just to make sure all the layers stayed firm, because some of the edges of the double gauze is like quite like crinkled in the edge of the bolt, which is fine, but I just wanted to put a line of stitch in there just to make sure everything stayed straight. But what I've decided to do is do really thick binding. So I did 6-inch binding and I folded it in half to make 3 inches. I'll lose ½ an inch of that in the seam, and then there'll be give or take an inch front and back. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That will conceal everything, and that's why I haven't trimmed down the wadding, because I thought that will give me a bit of a safety net. If the binding's too big, I've got plenty of wadding all the way around to fill at least 1 inch. So I'll get on with that, and then I will start hand sewing. I've also got a quilt label, which again, normally I would attach before I even start doing the binding, but I don't know where the binding's really going to fall because I've never done a binding so big. So all I'm going to do is when I start hand sewing the binding on the back, I'll just attach the quilt label at that point, so half of it will get caught in the binding, and then I'll just hand sew applique the other bit on. But I'll show you all of that when we get to it. I just feel a little bit apprehensive because it's a little bit of a different material to work with and things, but I'm sure it will all come out. So this is the edge that I was worried about, so I've just been cutting it by hand. So as you can see, the backing is a bit short there. So with the nice wide binding, I've got plenty of room just to fold that back and cover it. It's a little bit extra there, but I'll just trim it down as I go if it's too much to fold over, but I don't think it will be. There's plenty of room inside the binding. So I'm happy that that's turned out. Now I do use water-soluble markers quite a bit in my sewing, and I get asked if it erases well. Now I did this last night, and I just wanted to show you that in some spots, like here, it has come back, I guess, or perhaps I missed these spots. There's another example here. I'd probably think I've missed those, but here, this is probably classic. So when you're starting drawing the lines, there's a tendency for you to apply a little bit more pressure, so you end up with a little bit more ink. But a second wetting of this area and these will just remove. I never have a problem where it keeps coming back. It's often because you haven't applied enough water to remove the amount of ink. So when using water soluble pens, it's best to hardly put any pressure, but at the start or the ends of the lines it's very easy to have mistakes. Welcome to our final day at our sewing retreat. We're all set up here in the kitchen. This is where we've been working. This one's my machine and that's my sister's machine, and there's a little tease of her quilt that she's working on. So we actually bought these folding tables from home just in case there wasn't enough table room at the cottage. There has been another table which is just through from the dining room, but there was a sign on it to say to be careful because it's an antique table, so we left that one. So my plans for the day, I'm hopefully going to start this mushroom miniature quilt that I purchased from the Festival of Quilts a good few years ago now. It might have been 2 years, and if you watched my part 1 you will have saw the Liberty fabric that I packed for this. But it should be quite a quick project and it'll be a nice wall hanging, so you know me, I just love a wall hanging. So I hope to show you at the end of this quilt, at the end of this video, how far we've gotten with our quilts, and I'll show you any other projects that we get up to as well at the end. So this is a type of applique where you don't actually stitch the shapes down until the very end when you're adding the quilting. So all you do is you add your design onto fabric. This is just the paper design, trim it to size and then just tack it in place with a glue of your preference. I'm just using the Alma's purple school glue. So you just apply a generous amount of that onto the fabric and then just temporarily sticking it into place along with all of the extra elements to the applique, and then you cover the whole thing in a very fine mesh and that holds it all in place until you quilt it, and then you just quilt. And because it's really small pieces you don't need to do anything additional to secure the applique in place. So we are well and truly burning the midnight oil. Not really, it's only 7:15. It's our last night here, and we're just currently making the binding for my sister's quilt and on a little mission to try and get it finished this evening, so fingers crossed we can. I've just got about an hour of sewing to do on the double gauze quilt just to attach the binding, only a very small amount left, so I'm really happy about that. But at the moment I'm just working on the mushroom applique again, just doing the binding on that, but it's only tiny so it should be fine. But I find small binding quite fiddly, so hopefully I can get it right.